Hey Sam, just looking at your magazine spread project. So I think that this is looking really good. I really like the cover. It looks really realistic, and I like all the fonts you chose, even though you're using probably at least maybe two or three, at least three or four potential fonts there. It's still working together really well, and the color scheme is nice. And I love the way you have this on his face. Um, I think this is looking pretty good. I'm not sure if you're using the same font, at least one of the same fonts, which you might be using the same font. I guess I can, let's see. Which one is that? Letter Magic. Okay, that's a little different. This one is... So one thing you could do to kind of tighten up the design a little bit is try and reuse some of these fonts that you're using on the front cover. So I would just make this Great Mammoth probably maybe the same font as the David text up there, or either maybe this Bowie text, just so that you don't have like 10 different fonts. Like I can see on your cover you're using quite a few different... That's the same font. So you have 3 different fonts. So I would use one of the 3 fonts for this. And then I would also down here, I would use a less decorative font for the smaller text. And I was wanting, so if we look at, you know, the project worksheet, you were supposed to have another page here. So if we add another page, so the main project really was, and you know, this is probably because you're not in class. Obviously, if you were in class, we would have caught this. But the main project is actually the spread, which is 2 pages next to each other. So, I mean, you get extra credit for doing the cover and it looks great, but I would consider, if I were you, adding an extra page, you know, and really completing the design. So it looks like you cut off part of the record, so you can just easily fix that by doing this. Maybe you could find a full record to bring in to go over the gutter of your, which is the fold line of your spread, and that would look really good just centered on the page. And you could even, let's see, these lines that you have in the background, oops, I'm trying to reach those. Okay, I'm not doing a very good job of finding them. We could even, you know, stretch those out to be kind of over the whole thing, potentially, maybe even going off the page a little bit, depending on what you want to do there. This doesn't need to be quite such a big box, so we can kind of bring that down. And then maybe just bring this up just a little bit, because just the space that's here, you have enough space to work with. And then I wanted there to be columns in some of the body text. So if you are in Essentials Classic, Window, Workspace, Essentials Classic, you can come up here and there's a place to put in columns on your text boxes. And I wanted threaded text boxes. So, you know, I would make at least a 2-column text box. We might have to zoom in on this. And, you know, bring it so that this is, you know, up in line with the second column. And actually a lot of the other students in the class actually just did a control click and then, let's see, is it fill with placeholder text? Just to, you know, I mean, unless you have a story that you actually want to bring in. And then we can actually click on this box here, down here, click on that, and then you get this little icon of like, you know, just a different looking cursor. I'm going to use my space bar to grab my hand and just, and then I'm going to pull out another column of text. And so these two things are, these two text boxes now are threaded. And I'll make this a 2-column as well so that we have some consistency. And then I'm just going to start showing you what threaded means. So if they're threaded, if I start putting returns in this other text box, it will start to flow over into the next. And so I can actually fill this out even more with control clicking, and then fill with placeholder text. So there's one way of, and we want to make these similar like sizes. So, I mean, whatever size you have on this box, you probably want to do to the same to this one. And like I said, try to find a sans serif font because it's going to be way more legible than this font is. This one's maybe just a little bit too, maybe a little bit too hard to read, I guess. Another thing, something, you know, we might have to move this one down. You know, try and get this looking even. This could be smaller than this one. And then one other thing to consider is also just like the, do I have my properties panel open? I don't have my properties panel open. So I want to open my properties panel because the properties panel is a great panel to have open most of the time. So we can, you know, do a Command A within these text boxes to highlight all of the text. And then in the properties panel under paragraph, we can change the spacing. And I prefer to use this spacing here. I think it's called like left justify with last line aligned left. And it just creates a cleaner looking set of text boxes. And then if I scroll down in the properties panel, we can also underneath paragraph uncheck this hyphenate so that we're not getting the hyphenation within the boxes, and it does just look cleaner that way. And then I'm going to make this just as wide as this text box, and just try and like clean it up a little bit. I think that that's looking okay. So as you can see, that's already looking a lot cleaner. I'm making sure that all of these spaces are pretty much the same and that these are kind of lining up decently. And then, you know, if we had if you had a full-size record, you know, this could be a little bit more in the middle, you know, something like that. And then you would have your threaded text boxes, your columns in your text boxes, which were things that I wanted you to do. I wanted a quote somewhere in here. So, I mean, you could make a bigger quote from David Bowie or, you know, one of his friends. You know, and make it bigger, make it in one of your, you know, one of your fonts that you used on possibly the front cover. Something that is still legible. Is that what this is? Dreamwalk, okay. And then, you know, maybe this is from me. Something like that. I mean, this isn't a real quote, obviously. And then maybe I'd make it red so it sticks out. Without the stroke, maybe. And maybe make it bigger too, just so that you can really read it. Obviously, you know, maybe you'd have a longer quote. And it's hard to read on top of that, on top of the text here that we have. But something like that. And you can even put like, you know, a box here with a color so that your quote sticks out. Maybe I'll bring that on top and then make it white or something. Obviously, you know, you could probably do something a little bit better than just this plain box, but you know, you could potentially do something to this effect anyway. not saying this is the perfect way to deal with the quote, you know, but you can put some kind of shape behind it if you wanted to, so that it sticks off of that this grid system here that you have in place. And then you could even put like another picture of like sort of like these over here. And I did want a text wrap too. So I mean, I'll show you Kyra's magazine spread project. So this is her cover. She tried to make it as realistic as possible. And then this is the interior design that she did. And then she does have a text wrap around the logo here. She put it in between these two text boxes and then did a text wrap around. I think she has it locked down because she's using layers. But she put a text wrap around this. And if you don't know where the text wrap is, it's right here under window. And then you can change, you know, what type of text wrap and the spacing and stuff like that there. So she has one of these, and then if I start doing this, it does start changing the spacing around it. Obviously, you know, I'm just showing you that quickly. Don't actually want to do that with her design. But, and then she has her quote here. These two text boxes are actually threaded, so she doesn't actually have a text box with two columns in it, but they are threaded. And then the quote. And then a clipped image was another thing that I wanted you to do, which I think you have on the front cover, a clipped image. So that's great. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm noticing right now. I mean, I would suggest going into the project worksheet in Graphic Design 2, and then just making sure that you, let's see, where was it at? Maybe it was in this week. What did I do with that? Here it is. Making sure that you're doing everything that I ask you to do. So, and you're supposed to have an 1/8 inch bleed on your document, and hopefully you set it up to this size. Let's see if you did. File, document setup. See, yeah, you didn't set it up to the correct size. You can just leave it as it is now. It's really close, though, to the right size. You just need to make it 8.2677 by 11. And the reason this would be the size that I want you to go with is because it will print on an 11 by 17 better than an 8.5 by 11 would. And it's called an A4 size. So, and then we need an 1/8 inch bleed on your document, which you don't have. So that would help your grade as well. So just make sure under here, you know, make sure these are all linked, and then just put 0.125. You might have to click it one time or twice, and then it'll go into all of them. And then once we do that, you can see that when we push W in here, you can see that bleed line that goes all the way around the document, each page. And when you have images that bleed off the sides of your document, you need to go all the way to the bleed line. So we need to be moving all of these images out all the way around your design to go all the way. And this one doesn't actually reach it, so we have to move it down. And so that might mean that you have to do some more further adjustments with some things, but you're also going to have to, you know, bring this up and make sure that it fills that in. And then just make sure this black background is definitely going all the way to the red bleed line. And then also just make sure you get me the right things in the folder. So, you know, I would go over this, make sure you're doing this all correctly, but, you know, this is examples of naming conventions, which I think you might have done all right with. And then I need the INDD file, links, folders, fonts folder, and then a high resolution PDF file with bleeds and crop marks included. And I can show you how to do that really quick. I'm going to run out of time, but file, export, and then we want, you know, say I'm in the right folder, PDF print, and then range, we want it 2 through 3, and then crop marks and bleed marks, and then just do an export. And that's how I want you to do your PDF. Looks like I think that's okay. We'll just push okay. Anyway, that's basically what you're going to have to do in order to kind of make this better and get a better grade on it because we're missing part of the assignment. So talk to you later.